particular debate was
A disappointment?
I think some people were warming up. Some people were, yeah. And however, it was more pleasant than I expected. More pleasant as in no, because okay, don't take this the wrong way, but last year around December when you guys came over, it didn't exactly feel like friendly, but now it feels a little bit more like friendly. As I'm improving in terms of the mindset, so that's a good idea. You guys on this side need to warm up. Yeah, it's not like, I'm pretty sure you know what you were going to say, but yeah, you need to still go in a bit. We'll start from the affirmative. Chi-Chi. There was a word that you used. It says used. I think you were talking about policy. Policy is used in something something. Was that what you said? First paragraph.
What was it?
You said the death penalty is used in murders and some.
Oh,
Yeah, that part.
That's not my script, though.
That's okay. A better word choice instead of used. Oscar, what do you think? What's a better word? Like a certain policy is used in yada yada yada. Good. You should. Applicable. Applicable. Did you say applicable?
No, but I'm not going to use it.
Good. So use something else instead of use.
What else? Is there a simple word we can
Covers.
applicable?
Covers the scope of it. Because you said it's used in. It's kind of weird. It's like the law existed, right? The law already existed. And so it probably is already, it's more like, yeah. Or you implement or something. So yeah. Anyways, overall smooth delivery. The eye contact was kind of inconsistent. Okay. And your cross-questioning, your answers were calm and well-prepared, polite in response, and clarified the issue of repentance. Your cross-questioning cornered the opposing side with the logic of the stats. However, should control your energy outburst. Okay. Negative number one, Jennifer. Opening speech, voice intonation. I know this is a weird question. Jennifer, have you ever played any sports regularly? How do you breathe? How would you breathe? Okay, here's the problem. Your voice is not that bad. You need to start pushing that voice from your diaphragm. All right, it has to push from the belly and up. Because it seems that you're trying to force the word out. And so you need to try and let it be easier for you to speak. Yeah, that, you get what I'm saying, right? Because it's not bad. The delivery is great. It's just that it sounds more like you're pushing it, but you can push it easier when it comes from this part of the voice intonation. So that's only a minor thing. Let's see what. You said death is the only thing that would hinder or like let the criminals feel a deterrence. So I'm thinking like maybe you want to change the word thing into something else, if you can. If you can. If not, just stay with it. And then you said something about scary. The word scary, while it implies the meaning of fear, it's actually, scary is actually more, it's a little bit too simple in terms of wording. I would request to replace in terms of the word scary. Try and find something that goes around it if you can. If you can't, just keep it. All right. Provide us a solution and elaborate with emphasis on what you guys want to intend to fix and what not to fix. That part is good. That part would be great. However, the last part where you said weapon, I know that it sounds great in Chinese, but once it comes into English, it was a little bit weird for me. I'd like to request to find a more appropriate word for that weapon. Try to see if you guys could think of something else. And again, you help me pronounce this particular word? I'll do it again. Alright, keep it that way, because there was a little bit of a slur in the end. But otherwise, it's good. Just need to make sure. Yeah. Abolishing. What was that? I'm sorry.
Abolition.
Evolution?
Abolition.
T-I-N?
Sorry. No, L-I-T-I-O-N. Abolition.
Oh, abolition. Oh, okay. Abolition. Oh, yeah, abolition. All right, good. Never mind. Let's go to negative number 2. Sherry. Cross questioning. Compared to last year in December, the style, although well defined, is quite speedy. It's still a little bit speedy. That I would suggest the same as I suggested to Jennifer, is to try and ease the way you push the voice out. Give yourself an easier time because you still have to come up again and again. So that part you will have to try to deal with. If you can't, it's actually getting hotter these days. So go into the swimming pool and actually go down and then try to just exchange a breath in between. See if it would be better. All right. Sometimes it helps in terms of speeches and singing. Let's see. There was an example you said in the constructive speech. Dysfunction. Could you repeat that sentence? Okay, that's good. All right. Never mind. It's just a clarification for everyone. The word dysfunction, that's the correct usage, but you should not use it to describe any human or animal. It's usually used to describe a system or a machine. Because sometimes people use it to describe humans, and it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's fine. I know. I'm saying you're using it right. I'm saying don't use it the other way. Yeah. There was an example about lazy people, and then you said no innocent people have been executed to this day. In the States. No innocent, you mean no documented.
What she's saying is that people who died, they were never convinced.
Okay, that's fine. I didn't quite feel comfortable about a particular example about the bear and the human. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. I don't think that it's, because you're comparing a bear to a human, and it's kind of weird about like whether a person has morals or no morals. It's kind of, yeah, because a bear can have morals too. Like, it's kind of like dicey. We call it dicey, like it's an old word. Dicey just means like, have you seen a dice? Like it's got six, okay. And so it's kind of dicey because it comes from like, it could be a 1, it could be a 6, it could be a 5, it could be anything. You're leaving a lot of room for like people to either interpret it or for the judge to interpret. Like even if the opposition doesn't say anything about it, you still, the judge will be like, oh, so you mean the bear is actually equivalent to us. Yeah. But like you wouldn't say it, right? It would show up on your scoreboard. It's done, except your cross questioning, you're answering to your cross questioning. I know it's tempting because I also have a very high sense of pride. Please don't shoot back another question to the questioner. Yeah. Like I understand why you're shooting back a question because no one likes to be questioned. So yeah, but just refrain from it. Yeah. Oh gosh. Sorry, Jennifer. Your cross question, going back to Jennifer's cross question, it's smooth, but don't munch. It seems like you're munching on the word. Yeah. Because you're trying to get it really fast, right? I get it. So, again, okay. All right, it's easier. Yeah. And actually, the words are actually stuck right here. It's like, all right. If you need reference, look at Tina's. All right. Tina's actually delivery was okay. Yeah. Let's see. Karen, affirmative. Rebuttals. Karen, don't use so many words on actual. So, yeah, in your speech, it's like a lot of actual. If you want to say actual evidence, we phrase the word actual to concrete. If you want to say we believe or whatever believe, change to assert or propose. Eye contact was not sufficient, but I'm sure it will improve with time. You also need more interaction by. You need more interaction by. Don't make people think you're like just rolling it off your tongue. Yeah, like make people know that you're talking to them. Good questions on cross-questioning, hitting the budget point, and you got a little bit excited, so don't use the word messed up. Yeah. Although it's quite colloquial, it's great, but not every judge appreciates colloquial. Yeah. Like if you meet someone that's a lot older than me, like 20 years, you're not going to get that kind of appreciation. Yeah, it's a guy, very old guy. Rebuttal from the affirmative side. Eye movement. Eye movement will be should be a little bit more. I noticed that it was probably because you haven't warmed up yet. Some minor problems, like but yet. Just need to rephrase and say and yet. There's this, and you have identified. But what was good was that you identified points that the opposing side had stated, and then you did some rebuttals and you repeated, elucidated your position as the affirmative. And movement. Too repetitive. Yeah, there was a lot of this. So keep that in there. Tina. The first half of your rebuttal was finger tapping. There was some finger tapping. Yeah, and it ended up like so. And you realized it, and you switched papers, and then it became this. Yeah. Which kind of, like, I know you're nervous, but like, you don't want the judges to know you're nervous. Yeah. Yeah, don't do it. Like, it really was disturbing. When you used the phrase failed to mention, change that to something else if you can. Because because like it depends on what your previous two partners said. Because they had said a lot of this phrase failed to mention. And then when it comes to you, it's like failed to mention. It's like, oh, it's like the same tune. It's like it's kind of getting a little bit boring, so rephrase it. You can go for like did not, hasn't, etc. Like something else. Yeah, something else to bring it fresh. Like they would know like, oh, it's not Sherry, it's not Jennifer, it's a team. Yeah. So, and the rebuttal was solid. And I want you to say the word Q-U-E-S-T-I-O-N. T-I-O-N. Say that word again.
Question.
Alright, just keep it that way. Something else happened with the slur. Yeah. Otherwise, both sides, it looks, alright, they say that some of the best debates that happen would be a tie. Yeah. And it's kind of hard to choose. It is a tie, in my opinion. Yeah. But there's always like one side that the judge would favor. And,
Can you tell us the points that either side should push more?
push more?
Or which points are more important? Because I'm sure you spent a lot of, like, there are too many points to tackle.
Right.
So can you tell us which ones you want us to resolve better?
To resolve better. Alright, we'll start from the question. I want you to think more about what Sherry asked in her pause questioning.
Yes.
I want you to think about like, yeah, that part. I want you to think about more about that part. What about you guys? You had questions about like what is the first few questions? You said you.
No, it was like, because if they go out on their A, what's the point?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one would have to be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good question. Yeah, that was a good question. Is there something that you think you need to work on?
result. So either there are harms and you try to mitigate them, or there are no harms and then the system is perfect as it is. Or actually, I think no, it was
That's the John.
It would actually seem relatively, it seems a little bit weak that you would point out so many flaws within the system, but then say that you still maintain status quo.
because it's a little contradictory.
No, I guess what they're saying is like, if you maintain a status quo, either you show like, okay, the system right now isn't so good, right? So probably put a little bit of minor fixes here and there if you want to. You know, I think it would be more convincing because it shows the other side that you're actually progressive. You're like not like, oh, you know, system's great, so why are we changing? And it sounded more like that too. I think that's what they're kind of saying. Yeah. So it's not that it's wrong. It's just that you need to show a little bit like, okay, so our system's not perfect either. So we're going to do this and that to make it even better, but we're going to keep the status quo.
It's actually easier for you if you have some measures to fix the current problem. Because they will be busy attacking your policy, new policy, or your minor differences. Right.
This has been affirmative as proposed by that.
Where did I say?
But if you think the status quo is okay, it's good enough as you plan, then you have to fight for it. You have to defend for it. If, as you point out, there are some problems with the parole system, with the judicial system, so you're not going to fix it. So then that would be weird for us, right? Because this is confusing, since you have pointed out some problems.
Because I thought it was in the existing system.
Because
Right,
So either
weird.
you say, sorry.
Okay, it's okay, it's okay. So I was talking about the same thing.
Yeah, it's like either because well we did like when you're negative, either you say no, those problems obviously don't exist, and then it's not our problem to solve it. But if you do recognize those problems, then you have to show that at least I'm trying to solve it. I recognize the problems and I'm going to fix it in some way. But if you recognize those problems and you're not going to fix it, then it seems a little strange to keep on saying, but everything's fine.
Yes.
All right.
Especially if there's a problem in the parole board, which is criticism. That's important.
Before, yeah.
Yeah, but like this, like among all the problems mentioned today, usually it's up to the debaters to decide which problems could take on more weight, and we have to discuss right away. So like you hear that there are problems everywhere in every system. So like it's your decision to make on the spot which one you should focus on. But I mean, like after the debate, like we can say that yeah, there are problems with the parole procedure, there are problems in the judicial system. But like here, I guess like the negative side I mentioned like something which could be a little bit risky. Like in the second negative, I guess the second negative mentioned that none of the execution so far has been proved wrong or proved wrongly sentenced. In a way, this sort of explain that the procedure of like sentencing someone to death penalty has been proved to be quite strict and quite careful. So like here, this could be like two different sorts of directions. One would be about the penalty, the other would be about the current loopholes that we have to fix in the judicial system. So I guess it's your decision to decide. But I guess in the end, like from the audience point of view, we could still tell somehow, like which problems would seem more important to us then. Yeah. So like even though that we talk about, yeah, there are problems here, there are problems there, but like you still have to decide which problems you decide to attack at that moment. Yeah. And I guess you mentioned that the affirmative mentioned that since the negative mentioned you should the negative side didn't seem to propose like a feasible plan to fix the current problems in the judicial system. But I guess like just to speak frankly, I mean from the audience point of view, if the negative side, because like maybe like you could also argue from the negative side too. If you just answer that we could fix the problems from the current budget, I guess it sort of explain like the source of the budget, because like from the common sense, fixing the problems or like improving the training of judges wouldn't need a lot of budget. So like here maybe the negative couldn't provide a specific number on how much the budget would be. But like if the negative answer that yeah. So like I guess like sometimes the problem really are there, but even though like the negative side they couldn't provide a specific number, but by providing some like directions, I mean the audience could still understand some sort of solutions are proposed.
I would agree with what Alan said. I think that it it could show exactly how a stance could be held, but at the same time, from my standpoint, it would be that if you didn't show a certain direction of what kind of fix you might go towards, then it makes me feel like you're just negating everything on one side. So that would be what I feel, and that's already quite neutral from my statement. It could be a little bit different if it was an older professor. So
when we have problems like understanding what's like our side and what the other side, like what are our burdens and how we're supposed to approach them, like how we.
when you have say that again.
No, because it's like I don't really understand what either side we're supposed to do. What are we supposed to solve? Because if say we're the negative, then we can. If we propose, if we say, oh, these are the directions that we could go towards, but we don't say that we're going to go towards that, then,
I think it's more about a style in your approach. Like it really depends on you and your partners. Because if you guys want to stay with a certain stance, then you have to know the pros and cons that come along with it. For example, if you stay with status quo, no changing, then you're gonna know that it's gonna come from them. It's like one question, like, okay, so it's not perfect, so why are you doing it? So why is it so? Why is the status quo good? All right, and then if you go along with like minor changes, then you're like, oh, so this is not already not improving, so why don't we just make a more dramatic change? So you already know what kind of response is going to come. So the pros and cons that come along with your style or your general approach will affect how you respond to your proposal.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I didn't really know what my question was. So I don't really know what the answer was.
What I was thinking was that if we really want to make the problems mentioned on the spot urgent enough for the other side to answer, maybe in addition to pointing out, yeah, there's a problem, but you don't provide enough solution to fix a problem, you could try to expose the problem to make it more serious. I mean, like by asking more follow-up questions. Yeah, so I guess like the impression I had at the moment was, yeah, you expose the problem that the other side couldn't provide a feasible plan or a clear plan to
But it
fix
also
the future
didn't
problem.
seem serious enough.
Yeah, but you need to make the connection between the problems in the judicial system to the topic this time. Yeah, so I guess it's okay to mention problems, but we need to, either side, we have to make a problem like an attack more serious enough, so that the other side has to deal with them right away. Otherwise, keeping either side, we keep mentioning there's a problem, the other side couldn't solve. Yeah, after the score, after you score, you just maybe score 1 point. You couldn't score more points. Yeah, and I guess that was what I was trying to say.
So the first affirmative has to provide enough significance.
Okay.